up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the DNF podcast with your girl Crystal. Happy Sunday, you guys. Well, it's Sunday for me. I'm recording on a Sunday, but happy day to whatever day you're watching or listening to this episode. I know it's been like a week, I think, since I've uploaded, and I was meant to upload the second part of the episode with my brother. However, when I was editing, I realized that he and I messed up so bad that I was like, we're gonna need to like re-record or like I'm just gonna have to do this on my own. So I went with the second option and I'm doing this on my own and I'm gonna give you guys my driver rankings for the 2026 season. I'm also gonna get into a little bit about the Premier League because I just finished watching Arsenal versus Tottenham and we'll get into that here in a second. So buckle in and let's talk about it. Now, if you didn't watch last week's episode, as I mentioned, we did give our rankings for the 2026 season for the teams. And just a little brief recap if you want to know what my order is. I'm not going to tell you to go watch the episode. I'm not like that. So, really quickly, I have my phone and I'm going to tell you. Ready? P11, I have Alpine. P10, I have VCAR. P9, I have Haas. P8, I have Audi. P7, I have Cadillac. P6, I have Red Bull. P5, I have McLaren. P4, I have Mercedes. P3, I have Williams. P2, I have Ferrari. And winning the constructors, I do have Aston Martin. Now, that being said, after testing in Bahrain, some people are like, are you going to stand by it? Yes, I am because I believe in the term sandbagging, and I do believe that a lot of these teams were sandbagging. They're also bringing a lot of updates for Australia. We are less than 2 weeks away from the F1 season, so anything can happen within the next few weeks and whatever upgrades they decide to bring to Australia. So, without further ado, because we do have 22 drivers to go through, I'm going to give you the order in which I think the drivers are going to stack up this year. So, I'm obviously going to start in P22 and work my way up. So, in P22, I have none other than Franco Colapinto. Oh, I know. I don't hate him, you guys. I don't have anything against him. I just he didn't do anything for not Williams. He didn't do anything for Alpine last year, and I know that he replaced Jack Doohan, but it wasn't even that late into the season. And honestly, I just don't think that Alpine's going to be doing all that hot this season anyways. So I was kind of like a no-brainer because I do think that Pierre kind of just trumps him just a tad bit. And P21, I have Arvid. Kind of a controversial take a little bit, but I just feel like it's kind of the discussion that me and my brother were having last week because he's a rookie. I think that he's just going to be prone to making a lot of mistakes. And yes, I think the advantage that he does have is that he's never driven, well, I believe he has driven older specs of other vehicles. But it's also his first Formula One season, and we saw how like Kimi did last year, where he started off really hot, and then all of a sudden there was a drop, and then he kind of picked back up at the end of the season. I think that's kind of where Arvid's going to be. But I think I kind of said that Ford's reliability was not going to be the strongest for the 2026 season, so I'm leaving it at that. P20, I have the Hulk, Nico Hulkenberg. I think that Gabby is going to outperform him this season. I honestly think we're not gonna say we're seeing the decline of Nico Hulkenberg, but I really do think we have seen how far he can go. It was great that he got his maiden podium last year, but I think that's it. I don't think we're gonna get much from him. I just don't think that there's like much more left to give. Sorry. I love you, Nico. So prove me wrong. I want everyone to prove me wrong, obviously. Well, not everybody, you know what I'm saying. In P19, I have Pierre Gasly. And again, it's just gonna go with I don't think that Alpine has a good car underneath them, honestly. I know that they have the Mercedes engine now, but just because you have a Mercedes engine, I mean, we've seen it with Haas, with them having a Ferrari engine. At times they're good, and at times they're so. I think that's going to be the case. So we shall see. In P18, I have Liam. Again, I don't think it has to do much with his driving. It's more so with the reliability issues of the Ford engine. However, I know they did a lot of laps during testing. So we shall see. I think maybe, the Ford engine could be a dark horse for the 2026 season as it's a complete reset, but I don't know. And also, I think with with Checo being back on the grid and with all the crap that Liam, I just I think that might get to his head a little bit. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. If you know, you know. All right, moving on to P17. I have SD Bestie. I did say that Haas was going to be struggling this season, and compared to Ollie and Esteban, but in my mind, it was kind of a clear indication that Esteban has plateaued and his rookie teammate, brand new, had a few races under his belt already. And just, I mean, had it not been for a lot of these like penalties that he was receiving, I do believe that Ollie did outperform and outdrive Esteban in a lot of scenarios. P16. I have Valtteri. I think again, Cadillac being, I hate saying again, so I'm so sorry. But with Cadillac it being their first year, I know they did a lot of simulations. They were probably one of the slowest teams during testing. I'm trying not to take testing too much into consideration because again, I do believe a lot of these teams were sandbagging. There was so much that everybody was learning, running different scenarios, so testing aero. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep my thoughts and opinions to myself on testing, but I just think that Valtteri is going to struggle a little bit more than Checo. Now in P15, I have Gabby. I think Gabby's gonna have a breakout year. Like I am hoping for his first podium. If a first win were to happen, that would be great. He reminds me a little bit of like Max and Oscar, where they like he absorbs so much information and like you tell him and he's gonna like okay, I got it, like I'm gonna try to figure it out. So I think he learned so much from his rookie year, and having such a seasoned veteran as a teammate like Nico, who you can clearly tell that they work really, really well alongside each other. I think this has to be a breakout year for Gabby, in my opinion. Just my opinion, okay? In P14, I know it's gonna come as a shocker because I do have Mercedes pretty high up, but I have Kimi Antonelli. I think there's a lot of pressure on this kid. And we kind of saw glimpses of that last season where he was doing really well, and then there was like this hype around him, and then boom, there was a drop in performance and he struggled to get back up. And I'm not gonna blame him. I know it was your rookie year, so like you're learning the ins and outs of Formula One. But I think one, there's a lot of pressure on Mercedes now, but I think there's even more pressure on Kimi because like he is basically what they want. He's basically what they want. What how do I say it? They want him to be the next Lewis for Mercedes. And he's either gonna sink or swim, and I think for this season, I think he's going to sink. Um, but I think we'll see glimpses of like potential. I don't know. Um, Now I know that he topped a lot of the timing charts, or like he was quick during testing, but McLaren was quick also during testing, and they're telling me that they don't have a good car, so I don't know what to believe. Okay, so P13, I have Oliver Behrman. I think Ollie's gonna have a really good year. The fact that Ollie is in a Haas and he's still outperforming his teammate and he's doing a good job despite the many mistakes and many penalties that he did receive last season. I do believe that Behrman is going to outperform Kimmy and he's going to outperform his teammate. I think that we might have an Oliver Behrman maiden win. What track? I don't know. You know what? My bet would be Hungary because that's where a lot of people get their maiden wins. So who knows? All right, moving on. P12. I have Checo Perez. I think that man has such a giant chip on his shoulder because of the way that Red Bull presented him at the very end and the way that Red Bull was so quick to be like, yeah, we're gonna stick with Liam. And then to drop Liam like within two races, it's crazy to me. And the fact that, at least to my knowledge, Red Bull has never apologized. So I think that he's going to be driving with, just anger, but like directed anger to like always try to like outqualify Max, outqualify Isaac. I try to outqualify Arvid. I for sure outqualify Liam. So out of the two Cadillac guys, I do think that Checo is going to be outperforming his teammate, but it's just because he's driving with like revenge and vengeance on his mind. But that's just me. Okay? All right. P11. I know that I have Mercedes in the top four. I really I refuse to put him higher just because I'm not that I can't stand him. I can't. I don't know. I didn't know where else to put him, so sorry. But I think George Russell. Do I honestly believe that he's gonna be P11? Probably not. I think he's gonna be a little bit higher, but when I made this list and I'm like, nah, I can't go back and I'm not gonna let testing sway me. Um, I had him at P11. I could have switched him and Hajar, but I think that Hajar is also gonna have a really good year. I think the difference between Yuki, Liam for compared to Isaac for being Max's teammate. One, I think it's great that he's becoming teammates with Max during the new regulation, so he's going to be learning alongside Max. But I think that also Isaac's gonna have a different approach to it too. So we're gonna see, okay? We're gonna see. So I have high hopes for him. That's why I have him in P10. P9, I have Carlos. I think Carlos is gonna struggle a little bit more this season compared to Alex. Um, I know my brother was talking about age and all that last time, but no, again, it was one of those where I just didn't know where to place him because I didn't want to place him too high up because I don't think he's gonna do all that great, but I also don't think he's gonna do all that bad. So I think P9 is pretty decent. Um, and it's funny because I have Carlando together, and it's probably one of the few friendships that I don't really care for. But I do have Lando in P8. I kind of the comments that he's made during testing and his interviews, and I don't know, and I we won't know really honestly until Australia, but is he going to be driving with, okay, I need to retain my number one, or like, yeah, I won a title and that's like what I really wanted, so now I'm gonna really enjoy this one. Like I don't know like how he's gonna be driving. Um And I don't know if this like type of car is gonna suit his style either. He did top the timings a few times, so I have him at P8. So, I mean, whatever. It's Lando. Now, P7, I honestly wanted to put him dead last, but I realized that because I have Aston Martin winning the constructors, I can't afford to have him like last. So I do have Stroll, and that's where I'll leave it at that. P6, I have Lewis. I think Lewis is going to have a good season. I think we're going to see some podiums for sure. For sure. I think we're going to see some podiums. I don't think he is going to really be in fighting contention for the title this year, for the driver's title, but I think I think this year is just going to be way better for him. Also, the fact that he's getting a new race engineer. We had been pleading about this because we were tired of Adami. So, yeah, P6 for Lewis. P5, I have Alex Albon. I think this is going to be such a good year for Alex. I'm like putting that into the world. Please be kind to my Alex Albon. I am hoping for his maiden win. I really do want him to win a race so bad. Not just one, a few would be fantastic. But I think he's gonna I honestly think he's gonna have a good year. Just, you know, I'm gonna leave it at that. P4, there's no way that I could have him lower than P4 if I'm being 100% honest. And that's just because I think he is, if not the greatest, but one of the greatest of all times, and that is Max. I think he's gonna do really well. I think he's gonna outperform his team like he always does. But I think they're gonna be neck and neck in like certain races. For sure, he's gonna win. He's gonna be podium. I think a lot. The fact that he's been so vocal about what he doesn't like about these new regulations compared to other drivers, like he has been a lot more nitpicky and he's very blunt and very straight to the point, and I like that. He's not sugarcoating it. Um, and you know that this man loves and bleeds and breathes racing. So, yeah. Now, P3, y'all are probably gonna be shocked. But if they're winning the constructors, I gotta have one of them in the top three, if I'm being honest. So, with it being said, I do have my favorite rookie, Fernando Alonso, in P3. I think that him and Newey are like, I mean, there's like this rumor saying that Adrian Newey hates him. Well, not hates him, but like is always gonna try to sabotage him or whatever. But I think that they're locked in like this, and we're like, we're gonna play this perception that we can't stand. No, not again, we can't stand each other, but like that you're trying to screw me. But that's not the case. And I think Fernando is going to win more races this season, and we will see him on the podium, and we will see him in the top three. I think the top three are gonna be really, really close. I hope that it's not like last season because I don't like how last season panned out, but points wise, I think they're going to be very close. P2, so close, so close, but not yet. I have Charles. I think Charles has kind of like been playing a little coy. Ferrari just seemed to have the, the rotating wing that everybody keeps talking about. But I just think that they're gonna have a good season, and I do have Ferrari like in P2, so for the constructors, for drivers between him and Lewis, I'm gonna go with Charles. Um, yeah. And then P1. I mean, I'm biased as hell. Yes, I do have Oscar Piastri winning the drivers' championship. Is it reality? Probably not. I'm realistic in some aspects, but in my delusion and in my channel, I have him winning, okay? So if you don't like that, sorry. Um, no, I think one the same how I talked about Max is I feel the same way about Oscar and how they get information, retain information, fix their mistakes, are always looking for the smallest of advantages, studying. This man is on the sim. I love that we don't really hear from him unless he really wants us to hear from him. Um, and I do feel like one, the fact that Mark is not going to be on track a lot of these races. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. And he is bringing in more people on his team. The fact that his psychologist has talked about how they have been working, and he himself has talked about how he struggled last season and like what he's learned and what he's like he has new tools under his belt. I would not be surprised to find Oscar again in the top three. I really hope it's a win. I really hope we start Australia with him winning. But with such a shakeup, you never know. That is my top three: Oscar P1, Charles P2, and our favorite rookie Fernando Alonso P3. Everybody taking a deep breath, and yeah. We are 11 days away from I was gonna say P1 from practice one, so FP1. You guys, so sorry. All right, so let's move on to the F part of this podcast, football. I do want to talk and want to focus on the Premier League and a little bit on La Liga. All right, so today's match, I was rooting for you, Tottenham. At least when I rooted for Manchester United, they didn't disappoint me, okay? That's all I have to say. And but it's okay. Right now, the way that the table stands, it is Arsenal, City, Villa, Chelsea, United, Liverpool, Brentford, Bournemouth, Everton, Fulham, Newcastle, Sunderland, Crystal Palace, Brighton, Leeds, Tottenham, Nottingham Forest, and in the relegation, we have West Ham, Burnley, and Wolves. Now, Arsenal has played 28 games. City has played 27. Currently, the Arsenal has 61 points and City has 56. Um, it's gonna be close, honestly. I can't I in the deepest parts of my heart and my soul, I want City to win. Of course I do. Realistically speaking, I don't know if we are. Arsenal is playing, well, not recently, but they played well the first half of the season, so that's what's coming to their advantage right now. However, we are breathing down the necks and it's not over until it's over. So, Arsenal. Now, on the other side, for La Liga, Barcelona won today. Real Madrid lost yesterday. And anytime Real Madrid loses, and Barcelona wins, I'm a happy fan. And the fact that we are on top of the leaderboard, I know by 1 point, but still. I don't care. I don't care. I do want to talk about a little serious topic really quickly. Um, I normally don't talk about Real Madrid nor support Real Madrid, nor do I support their players because they're not my team. But I do just have to say that there is no room for racism in any sport. And the fact that Vinicius Jr. during the Benfica and Real Madrid match was receiving racist remarks from the Benfica player. I'm not going to say his name because he doesn't deserve to be named. He doesn't deserve the attention or adulation that some people are giving him. Um, but I believe he should be banned from the sport. I don't care like what investigation is going to be. The fact that some people are like, well, you don't know what he said. He was covering his face. Why were you covering your face? Like, I understand sometimes players do that to like talk to each other or even, but they normally use their hand. That's one. Sometimes they use it because they are talking strategy and they don't want the cameras or whoever, because they do go back and watch tapes. But the fact that this man had to use his entire jersey to cover his face to then say something to Vinny, guilty as charged. I do not care. You should be kicked out of the sport. You should not be allowed to play. And from what I've seen online, I believe that this is not the first time that this man has had an incident like this, stating that he has made racist remarks in the past. So I hope UEFA does the right thing and bans him. That's just my take on it. And if you stand by that man, you can unfollow me on all my social medias. Just and you can unfollow this podcast. I really do not care, but I do not stand for racism in any sport, in any aspect of life. We all need to be treating each other with love and respect. And a lot of people are trying to say in the heat of the game, in the heat of the moment. Listen, I understand being in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the game, but I would never say something racist. I would probably say how much you suck and how much your left foot sucks and how much your right foot sucks, but I would never sit there and make a racist remark against you or any individual. So if you're one of those people who are saying, well, in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the battle, no, you are the problem and you are an enabler. And that's my spiel. Like I said, I don't stand with Real Madrid. I don't stand with their players. But when it comes down to treating people with respect and treating people as humans, like I'm gonna side with humanity, okay? But anyways, that is it for today's podcast, you guys. I don't know if I'm gonna upload next week. For those of you who are not familiar, what I'm talking about is the week leading up to the Grand Prix weekend. I will give you my predictions of who I think is going to be on pole position, who I think is going to win, and where everyone is going to qualify. So, and Australia is such a weird timing for us here in the US, so that'll be an interesting recording. But anyways, you guys, I hope you liked this episode. Hope it was short and sweet. Hope you guys have an excellent week, excellent day, night. If I put you to sleep, good night. But make sure to make sure to like, I can't talk. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends, with your family. Shout out to my family who's always watching. Shout out to my friends who are always watching. I love you guys very much. And I will see you guys soon. All right. Peace.